how to calculate macros for lean bulk. That is what we're going to talk about in today's video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you like these styles of videos that I'm doing on this iPad and Apple Pencil. So lean bulking, that is what we're talking about today. So step number one to calculating your macros for lean bulking is to find your maintenance calories. So finding your maintenance calories is pretty easy. According to a bunch of studies and a lot of formulas online, pretty much the main formula is to multiply your body weight by 15, and that will roughly get you your maintenance calories if you are moderately active. Now, this is just an estimate, it's not exact. Again, this is just an estimate, but it is a good starting point, okay? So for our example, we're going to do Bob right here, who is looking to lean bulk. He is 200 pounds. He wants to lean bulk. So according to the formula, body weight by 15 is going to be 3,000 calories. And so this straight line here is going to be our maintenance calories. Okay, so in order to gain weight, he would have to eat above that line. So somewhere in this area. If he wanted to lose weight, he would eat below this line. That's how you would do cutting and bulking. It's pretty simple. And so the further up above the line you go, the more weight gain occurs, okay? And the faster it occurs, the further and further you go up. And then the same thing with weight loss. The further you go below the maintenance calorie line, the faster you'll lose weight. And I've talked about in other videos why you shouldn't go further than a certain amount. But in this video, we are talking about lean bulking. So what you want to do, I'm going to copy this image here really quick. So what you don't want to do when lean bulking is go way up here. This is called dirty bulking. This is where you basically just eat everything under the sun, and instead of looking very muscular, like, you actually get a big fat belly with it, okay? You might gain some weight, you might be able to push more weight, but we do not want this to happen. That is a lot of fat gain, unnecessary fat gain, okay? We want to stick where this yellow line is, now red line. We don't want to go too above the maintenance calorie line, because lean bulking is all about gaining muscle with minimal fat gain. Now, really quick, the lean bulking pros and cons. So the pros and cons of lean bulking is that for the pros, there's minimal fat gain, okay? And it is way more controlled, okay? As opposed to dirty bulking, right? Dirty bulking, again, is very not recommended. And the cons is that, yes, your gains will be slower, but you won't get the minimal, you will only get minimal fat gain. So there's pros and cons for both. And so those are the pros and cons of lean bulking really quick, just the basic ones that everyone should know. Now, to calculate your macros, okay? And so to calculate our macros, we're going to take that original formula for Bob. And so for Bob's lean bulk, what we're going to do is just go a little bit above that line. Remember, just a little bit above it. We don't want to go anywhere else. So 3,000 calories is this line. We just want to add 200 to 300 calories to that. Maybe even fewer than that, depending on how fast or not fast you gain weight. So 3,000 plus anywhere from 150 to 300 calories is good enough for our lean bulk calories. Okay, so now that we have our lean bulk calories set up, we can now break it into macronutrients. So this is how we would do that, okay? So we get protein here, carbs here, and fat here. Okay, so protein, carbs, and fat. Now, if you don't know anything about macronutrients, I do have a book on Amazon. Just type in IIFYM if it fits your macros. If you want to learn more and go deeper into macronutrients, this is just a quick summary of how to calculate your macros. But if you're interested, just go to Amazon, type in IIFYM, you will see my book there. So for protein, carbs, and fat, they all each have their own caloric makeup per gram. For protein, there are 4 calories per gram, 4 calories per gram for carbs as well. These two have the same caloric makeup. And we also have fat, so 9 calories per gram. Okay, now I want you to remember these numbers in the back of your head here in a second. Okay, now there's something called a macro split. There's a bunch of popular ones. The most popular one is called the 40-40-20 split. It's very popular. This means 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat. Okay, now to do this, what you would do is you would take each percentage amount of the calories and turn them into grams. Okay, now we can do this because now we know the caloric makeup per gram for each number, for each macronutrient. We can do this pretty easily. So just we're going to require a couple calculations, which I can do here really quick for you. Okay, so I went and did all the calculations for you guys here really quick. So we took our main calories, right, the 3150 calories right here, and we're going to multiply it by 40%. Now that gets us this number here, 1,260 calories coming from protein. Now if we remember, there's 4 calories per gram of protein, 4 calories per gram of carbs, and 9 calories per gram of fat, right? So what we would do once we have our number, we would just divide it by our caloric makeup number, and then we get 315 grams of protein. Now I know that's a lot. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but this is just a way to calculate your macros. So just bear with me here. Carbs, since they have the same, or since we're doing the same percentage, you get the same amount. So 315 grams of carbs. Not going to go through that again. The only thing that changes with fat is the 20% here. Okay. So instead of 40%, it's 20%, and that gets us 630 calories coming from fat, okay? And so there's 9 calories per gram of fat. 630 divided by 9 is 70 grams of fat. From our calculations, we have to eat 3,150 calories. 315 grams of those is going to be protein. We have 315 grams of carbs and 70 grams of fat. Now, I know some of you are thinking, that is a lot of protein. And you're right. You really don't have to eat that much. So that is why these percentages can be changed. Now, this is just a normal bodybuilding kind of macro split that we came up with. However, let's say you don't really like to eat a lot of carbs, but you like to eat fat, right? You could switch up the carbs. If you don't think you can eat 315 grams of protein, I know I certainly couldn't. You can just change the percentages. Remember, these numbers are coming from our original calories. As long as our original calories stay the same, the macros can change. So instead of doing something like 40-40-20, I'm going to draw this here really quick. Instead of doing 40% protein, 40% carbs, and like 20% fat, we could do something like 20% fat or protein, 40% carbs, and 40% fat. Now that's a lot of fat. I wouldn't really recommend that. You could do something like 30, 40, 30. I'm gonna make some more rows here. You can do basically anything you guys want, right? So you can do, if you love protein, if you love eating meat, protein shakes, I wouldn't really recommend this, but you could technically do 50%, 40%, and 10. That's another way to do it. I've seen people do that before. And yeah, there's even a low protein approach, which I don't really recommend. The lowest I would go is 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So whatever percentage allows you to at least get that amount, you should be fine. If you love carbs, you can do that. So 10% protein, 60% carbs, 30% fat. As long as your calories, your original calories stay the same, right? Stays the same, then your percentages can fluctuate. So doesn't really matter. It's really up to personal preference. Again, we are lean bulking, remember? So remember, we are lean bulking. It doesn't really matter. As long as our calories are the same, we will still benefit from minimal fat gain and more controlled versus dirty bulking. Okay, so that is how you calculate your macros. You would do the same thing for whatever percentage. Just remember that there are 4 calories per gram of protein, 4 calories per gram of carbs, and 9 calories per gram of fat. Again, you can do any percentage, whatever you like. I don't care if you do keto, if you do high carb, low fat, if you do all meat diet, vegetarian diet, just make these the same. Make sure they all add up to 100%. As long as that happens and your calories remain the same, you should be good to go. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you need anything or if you want any videos like this that I can explain for you guys, just let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you like these styles of videos. I'm trying out something new, trying to see what my audience would like to see. So let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.